the name of the file. The name of the file is, for example, payload. I'm just giving an arbitrary name. Okay, payload.exe. Let's make the payload. अगर एंड्रॉइड करना चाहते हो तो विंडोज की जगह सिर्फ एंड्रॉइड देना पड़ेगा, बाकी सब सेम है. Okay, so payload.exe is saved in our current directory, in our present working directory, right? Let's check payload.exe. Where is it? Here is it. Payload.exe. It is saved in our current working directory, right? So now we need to deliver this payload. So we need to deliver this payload to Windows 7, right? How can we do that? Let's first start the Python server. That means I am making my Kali machine a server. Okay, I am making my Kali machine a server. What is a server? The server means which is serving some files. Okay, so Python I am making. I am starting Python server. Okay, I'm starting Python server, and the Python server will start on port 80. Now what I have to do? I have to go to Windows. Then open the browser. Type the Kali's IP. Okay, let's type it. You can see the directory. We can see a list of directories, right? We can see a list of directories. So what we can do here, we can just download this payload.exe in the Windows machine. Okay, we can download payload.exe in the Windows machine. Okay, already windows.exe, already payload.exe is present in the machine. So let's delete all, these two payloads. Then let's download it again. Let me, delete it, and then let's download it again. Okay, so it has been downloaded. As you can see, we have accessed the file, so the log has been generated. So then I'm just stopping the, I have just stopped the Python server. Because the file is already downloaded and we do not need to make our Kali machine server anymore, right? We do not need it. বলো
এখানে স্যার একটু কুয়ে আছে, মানে ধরুন আমি এটা আমার সার্ভারে আমার মানে ইনপুট করে দিলাম পেলোডটাকে। স্যার পেলোডটাকে ইনপুট করার পর আমি বুঝবো কিভাবে যে আমার যে ভিকটিম মেশিন আছে সে ওটা ইনস্টল করেছে?
সেটা ইনস্টল করার জন্য এই যে আমি প্রসেসটা পরপর আসছি। ওকে, দেন আফটার দ্যাট ইউ নিড টু ওপেন MSF console. Okay, MSF console is open now. Now we need to use exploit module. Exploit multi-handler. Remember it, okay? Exploit multi-handler. It is also mentioned in the module that I will be sending today. Then all these things that I'm saying right now are mentioned in those modules. Okay, you do not need to worry about that. So I have used exploit multi-handler. After that, what we can do, we can check for the we need to set the payload. We need to set the payload. We need to set the same payload that we have mentioned at the time of making this payload.exe. The payload was, the name of the payload was Windows Meterpreter Reverse TCP. So we need to set this same payload here. Set payload Windows Meterpreter Reverse TCP. Okay. After setting the payload, what we can do, we can check for the options. In the options, it is mentioned that we need to mention the L host. The section, the current setting section of L host is blank right now. So we need to set the L host. So let's set the L host 192.168.1.12. Okay. After setting the L host means the Kali's IP. L host means the Kali's IP, and R host means the victim's IP. Okay. L host is the attacker's IP. R host is the victim's IP. L ports is the attacker port. R port is the victim port. Okay. So let's run it. So now my machine is listening on port 4444. Okay. My machine is listening on port 4444. So now what we can do, we will go to Windows, open the file explorer, let's go to downloads and just run this payload file. As you can see, we have got the connection. Session 1 is now open. If I check it with ccinfo command, then we can see that we are in the victim's computer, because the name of the computer is now victim Windows 7. OS is Windows 7, right? So we are inside the victim's computer. So what we can do after that, we need to do what we need to escalate the privileges, because we have logged in as a normal user, right? We have logged in as a normal user, but in order to control the whole system, what we can do, we need to gain the administrator level privilege. Only then we can control the whole system, right? So what we can do here, we need to go for get system. Okay, first let me check get UID. If you type the help command here, you can see the list of commands that you can run here. You can see the list of commands that you can run here. Okay. Here are the names of the commands. Here are the commands like background, BG, details. Okay. The description is also mentioned besides it. Okay, beside it, the description is also mentioned. So which command can we use in this purpose? Let's check the ID first. So we can use this get UID command. This get UID command, what will it do? It will get the user that the server is running as. Okay, basically it will check your ID. It will check your victim's ID, whether you have logged in as a normal user or the root user. So let's use the command first. As you can see, the server username is victim Windows 7. Okay, so we have logged in as the normal user. We haven't logged in as the administrator. So in order to gain the administrator level privilege, what we can do here, we can type get system. First, we need to background it. First, we need to background it. After that, we will do the get system command. First, we need to background. We need to send this meterpreter station in the background. So, in order to do that, what we can do, we can either type this background command. Okay, it will send your meterpreter station in the background. Otherwise, you can press Ctrl+Z. If you want to, if you want to bring it to the foreground, what you can do here, you can just type sessions, then you will check which session is running actually, and after that what you can do, you can use this particular session. So in order to use this particular session, what you can do, sessions then the number of the session, that means 1. Now the meterpreter session is foregrounded, right? You have brought the meterpreter session in the foreground, right? Now what we can do, First, let's send this meterpreter cell to the background again by pressing Ctrl Z at this time. Press Y here. Okay, press Y here. So what it is doing? Okay. Yes, it has sent the meterpreter session to the background. Now let's search for the bypass UAC. Why we are searching that? What is UAC? UAC means user access control. Sorry, user account control. Okay. So what UAC does? Whenever, if you, for example, if you have noticed, guys, that when you run a certain program in the system, it, I mean, a prompt gets generated, right? In the prompt, you have to mention whether you have to run, whether you are giving the application to run or not. Okay, the prompt asks the user whether he or she wants to run the program or not. The prompts gets generated, right? Whenever you are, run an application. Okay, when you run an application, a prompts gets generated. Like you also notice that when we clicked on the payload.exe, a prompt gets generated. We need to explicitly mention, we need to explicitly click on the run button. After that, though that particular payload.exe, started, right? So to bypass that particular thing, to bypass that user access control, what we can do, we need to search for the bypass UAC module. I mean, we need to search the payload. We need to search the payload first. Okay, let's search it. So as you can see, there are multiple payloads present. There are multiple payloads present here, and in this, among these payloads, what we can do, we can use this particular one. You can use any of this, okay, but I will be using this particular one because I have tested it and it works. That is why I'm using it. Okay, use that. After using it, what we can do, we need to check for the options, and here, as you can see, we need to set the session because the current setting section of session is blank, right? So we need to set the session number. We need to set the session number. What we can do here, we can use the set command and then write session and then type the number of the session. Then type the number of the session. Which session was running on? Which session is running currently? Which session is running currently? Session 1 is running currently. How did we find that? We have found by typing this particular command, sessions space then hyphen I, right? So we will set the session 1. After that, what we can do, we can just run this one. Let's run it. Okay, as we have gained the administrator level privilege, that is why another session is open. Okay. That particular session 1 was for the normal user. As we have logged in as the normal user, that is why session 1 was created. Now the session 2 has created. Session 2 has created as we are successfully logged in as the administrator. So if I type get UID, you can see the server username is still victim Windows 7 BIC. So let's type help command again. And in the help command, you can see get system. Get system, what get system do? What get system command does basically? It basically attempts to elevate your privilege. Okay, it basically attempts to elevate your privilege. You have gained the access of the system. You have gained the access of the system as a root user, but still you need to use get system command here. Okay. After that, what you can do, you can check it. You can check the ID again, and you can see the name of the the username of the server is NT authority system. That means the server, we have gained administrator level privilege here. We have gained administrator level privilege here, right? So now what we can do here, now we can, let me okay, is anyone trying to join? Okay, Okay, so NT authority system. We have the name of the username of the server is NT authority system, right? Now, what we can do here, we can, check for various options here. We can check for the various options here. If I want to connect, for example, I have gained the access of the system, right? If I want to run some command in the PowerShell of the computer, what we can do, we can remotely connect with that particular computer, with that particular victim machine. How can we do that? Let's check. Let's send the background interpreter shell to the background again. Okay. And let's search for what was the payload. Uh, our desktop RDP. Let's search for it. Hang on, 129 payloads. Enable RDP. Use this one. Post Windows manage enable RDP. Use this one. Okay. Use 35. Okay. After using this particular payload, what we can check? We can check for the options. Now here we need to set the session only. Okay, because in
স্যার আপনার কথা শোনা যাচ্ছে না। হ্যালো 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 স্যার আপনার আওয়াজ আসছে না স্যার। हाँ सर का आवाज नहीं आ रहा है। হ্যালো স্যার আপনার আওয়াজ আসছে না স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, এবার দেখো তো শোনা যাচ্ছে?
হ্যাঁ এবার এসছে, এবার আসছে।
হ্যালো। হ্যাঁ, নেটওয়ার্কের ইস্যু, প্রচন্ড নেটওয়ার্কের ইস্যু। আবার নেটওয়ার্ক চেঞ্জ করে করলাম। Okay, okay. What I was showing, yes, this one. So what we are trying to do here, we are trying to connect to that particular system using RDP. Okay. So in order to do that, we have used the payload 35. Okay. That this particular payload, Windows manage enable RDP. Okay. After that, we have typed the options command, and in the options command, we can see that there are various fields. There are port, password, session. Okay. And in those fields, among those fields, what we need to do, we need to only set the session, because in the it is taking some time. I don't know why. Let's wait for it.
স্যার এখানে কিছু কোশ্চেন ছিল আমার।
দাঁড়াও, আগে এটা হয়ে যাবে। আচ্ছা, বলো বলো বলো, ততক্ষণ এটা হোক, বলো।
আমরা যখন স্যার ফার্স্ট পেলোডটা ইউজ করলাম স্যার, তখন তখন স্যার আমরা স্যার মানে অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেটিভ প্রিভিলেজটা পাইনি। ওখানে
হ্যাঁ,
স্যার
আমরা যখন প্রথম প্রথম এক্সপ্লয়েট করলাম, তখন অবভিয়াসলি আমরা মানে আচ্ছা, দাঁড়াও দাঁড়াও, মিটারপ্রিটার সেশন 2 ইজ ক্লোজ। ও এই নেটওয়ার্কের সমস্যার জন্য না। দাঁড়াও দাঁড়াও, আবার এটাকে করতে হবে। এই জন্য নেটওয়ার্ক ভালো থাকতে হয় এইসব কাজ করতে গেলে। হ্যাঁ, সেশন 2টা ক্লোজ হয়ে গেছে। Okay, we need to do this particular thing again. We need to escalate the privilege again. Okay, let's search for the bypass USC, and after searching, oh, okay, I have changed the network, right? Oh, we need to again, I mean, we need to shut down this complete. We need to reset the system again because the IP has changed. We are in the different network right now. Okay, let's reset it again.
এর প্রথম থেকে করতে হবে স্যার?
হ্যাঁ, আবার প্রথম থেকে করতে হবে। বুঝতে পারলে নেটের সমস্যা হলে কি সমস্যা হতে পারে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
এইটা হতে পারে, এই জন্য স্টেবল ইন্টারনেট কানেকশন ইজ রিকোয়ার্ড ফর ডুইং অল দিস থিংস।
স্যার এবার কোশ্চেনটা একটু করবো?
হুম, বলো বলো।
স্যার আমরা যখন ফার্স্ট পেলোডটা মানে আমাদের যে বানানো পেলোডটা ইউজ করলাম তখন স্যার অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেটিভ প্রিভিলেজটা পাইনি। কেন
না,
পাইনি স্যার ওখানটা?
কেননা ওই পেলোডটা ওইভাবেই লেখা আছে। ওই পেলোডটা শুধুমাত্র অ্যাজ এ নর্মাল ইউজার হিসেবেই কানেক্ট হবে, সেই জন্যই তুমি কানেক্ট হচ্ছ। ওই পেলোডটা যদি আমাদেরকে আলাদা করে আবার পেলোডকে সেট করতে হবে অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেটর লেভেল প্রিভিলেজ পাওয়ার জন্য। ওটা ডিপেন্ড করছে যে পেলোডের ভেতরে কি কোড লেখা আছে, what is written inside the payload. It depends on the block of codes that are written inside the payload. Okay, that is why when we use the first payload, we didn't gain the access of the system, we didn't gain the administrator level privilege of the system. Okay, we didn't get the administrator level privilege of the system, we just logged in as the normal user. After that we need to use another payload to gain the escalated privilege, that means the administrator level privilege.
তাহলে স্যার
মানে it has উইন্ডোজটাকেও আবার চালাতে হবে, উইন্ডোজেরও আইপি চেঞ্জ হবে। এবার দেখি আইপিটা কত এসছে। আইপি
স্যার এটা কি সব উইন্ডোজ ক্ষেত্রে এক মানে হবে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, সব উইন্ডোজের ক্ষেত্রেই হবে। উইন্ডোজ 10 এর ক্ষেত্রে সবকিছু বন্ধ করে চালাতে হবে। ঠিক আছে, ফায়ারওয়াল বাইপাসটা আমি হেভি বাইপাস যেদিন অ্যান্টিভাইরাস বাইপাস করাবো সেদিন লিখে দেবো যে ফায়ারওয়াল বাইপাস কিভাবে করতে হয়। ইনম্যাপ স্ক্যান করছো, ইনম্যাপ স্ক্যানেতে ফায়ারওয়াল অন থাকলে রেজাল্ট দেবে না, তো সেটাকে কিভাবে একটু বাইপাস করে দেখতে হবে। ওখানে সবই ট্রায়াল অ্যান্ড এরার, মানে এটা নয় যে ইনম্যাপ স্ক্যান চালালাম মানে দ্যাট উইল বি দ্য ট্রায়াল অ্যান্ড এরার মেথড। If I'm just running a particular scan and it will work, it doesn't work that way. We need to use several types of scans. Okay, and then only then we can, I mean, gain the result if the firewall is on. So we need to, that will be the trial and error basis. We can't be successful in the at the first time. Now let's
স্যার প্রিভিলেজ এসকেলেশনের মানেটা একবার বলবেন ভালো করে? হ্যালো? হ্যালো? ও,
It's changed or not? Let's go to Windows and open the browser, and let's type the IP address here of Kali, right? Is open. Now let's check for the, okay, let's use, okay, exploit multi handler. After that, let's set the payload with to the let's set the same payload that we have. set the same payload. Now let's check the options. Let's set the L host. That means our Kali's IP. And let's run it. Okay, now go to the Windows and run this virus.exe. We have gained the session. Now let's send it to the background and search for bypass USC in order to gain the privilege. Let's set use 7. Okay, use 7. Let's check for the options. We need to set the session, set session 1, and then run. Okay, meter beta session 2 is open now. Okay, now what we can do, let's check for the get UID and let's use this get system command in order to gain the privilege. After that, get UID, let's use the get UID command again. And the name of the username of the server is NT authority system, right? NT authority system. We have gained the administrator level privilege here. Now what we can do, we can send this particular session 2 to the background and let's search for the RDP. Let's search for the payload by which we can connect to the victim computers remotely. Okay, we can connect to the victim's computer using RDP, remote desktop protocol. So how can we do that? Let's search for enable RDP. It is important when you download
আপনার
some.
কথাটা কেটে কেটে আসছে ফের স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, এবার ঠিক আছে।
হ্যাঁ এবার ঠিক আছে স্যার। আরডিবির ফুল ফর্মটা কি স্যার?
রিমোট ডেস্কটপ protocol. Okay, so now let's use 0. Okay, let's use the options command, and inside the options command what we can do, you need to set the session. Okay, then run. Okay, it is successful. The payload is successful. The execution of the payload is successful, right? So what we can do now, we can just type our desktop and type the victim's IP. What was the IP of the Windows machine? The IP address of the Windows machine was, let me check once again. It was 1 point sorry, it was 1.46, right? So we need to type the IP here, our desktop, the victim's IP. Yes, as you can see, we have connected to the system. We are connected to the victim system using redline to be visible.
স্যার আপনার কথাটা কেটে গেল, আরেকবার বলুন।
Well, we are connected with the RDP now. We are connected with the victim system through RDP now, right? It will take some time, okay, due to this particular. Yes, now what we can do, we can click on other user. The username of the computer was VIC and the password was root, right? Okay, so now we are inside the victim's computer. Okay, we are inside the victim's computer. Using our Kali machine, exploiting a particular
আপনার কথাটা কেটে কেটে যাচ্ছে, কিছু শোনা যাচ্ছে। হ্যালো। No.
Okay, am I audible now? Okay. Okay, let me share my screen again. So, as you can see, we are connected to the victim's computer using the RDP, that means remote desktop protocol. This will be beneficial when will this be beneficial? This will be beneficial when you can't see the screen of the victim's computer, and it is the possibility that you will not be able to see the screen of the victim's computer. Even if you are connected to the victim's computer, you can only see your console and you can send commands and you can get the output from the victim system through your console. Now, if I want to connect to the victim's computer, if I want to view the screen of the computer, of the victim's computer, so how can we do that? We can do that using the remote desktop protocol. Okay, as you can see, we can control the victim's computer from our Kali machine. Okay, we can control the victim's computer through our Kali machine. Okay, you can, we can turn off the firewall from here. Okay, we can turn off the firewall, we can turn off the antivirus system, we can download something in the victim's computer. Okay, we can do whatever we want. Okay, because we can graphically control the victim's computer through our Kali machine. Okay, so that is the process. And whenever you are delivering the payload, that means let's say we have created the payload.exe, right? We have created the payload.exe. Now whenever you are going to deliver, whenever you are going to deliver that particular payload to the victim, what you can do, you need to do social engineering. You need to lure the victim to click on a particular link. For example, you have crafted an email, you have written something, you have written a blog, you have written a marketing post, whatever, and you have embed the link, the malicious link, in a particular word. It can be possible, it can be done in Microsoft Word, right? It can be done in Microsoft Word. After doing that, you can just paste it in the page, you can copy it from Microsoft Word and paste it in the email body and send it to the victim. After sending it to the victim, if the victim particularly clicks on that particular payload, particular link, what will happen? That particular payload will automatically get downloaded to the victim's computer. It will automatically, the payload will automatically get downloaded to the victim's computer. After, if the name of that particular payload is lucrative, the user will click on it, he or she will run, and we can get the session. So that is the actual process of sending the payload. And after
স্যার
doing that, we have gained the access.
এখানে স্যার আপনি যে মেটাপ্রেটার পেলোডটা বানালেন আপনি, এখানে স্যার আপনাকে তো মানে ওই আইবিটা দিয়ে উইন্ডোজ 7 এর ওখান থেকে স্যার ডাউনলোড করতে হয়নি, ক্লিক করার পরে অটোমেটিক ডাউনলোড হয়ে গেছে।
এক্স্যাক্টলি, সেই জন্যই বললাম, if I craft that particular link in a particular word, okay, or in a particular text, so if the victim clicks on that particular link, it will get automatically downloaded. And if the name of the payload is lucrative, then he or she will automatically click on that particular payload and he or she will run, if he or she doesn't have the awareness. Okay, if he or she doesn't have that particular awareness, he or she will run it, and as soon as he or she runs it, we will get the connection, we will get the meter connection. And after getting the meter connection, we can control their particular system through our Kali machine. Whether we can either, I mean, send the commands through our console, otherwise what we can do, or we can control the victim's computer, we can graphically control the victim's computer through remote desktop protocol. As you can see here, we can control it, we can do whatever we want in the victim's computer. We can delete their recycle beam. If I delete the particular recycle bin is deleted. Okay, so whatever we do here, okay, whatever we do here, it will reflect in the real computer. Okay? That was the post exploitation.
স্যার ভালো পেলোড কিভাবে বানানো যায় স্যার?
ওটার জন্য প্রোগ্রামিং শিখতে হবে, এখন দরকার নেই, এখন আগে স্ক্রিপ্ট কি লিখো, তারপরে পেলোড বানাবো। ওকে, প্রসেসটা জানো, তারপরে কিভাবে প্রসেস ডেলিভার করতে হয়, কিভাবে মানে পেলোড গুলো কাজ করে, আগে সেগুলো জানতে হবে, তারপরে পেলোড বানাবো।
সার্ভারের জন্য কোনটা ইউজ করেছিলেন আপনি, মানে হোস্ট করার জন্য সার্ভার?
পাইথন,
কোন সার্ভার?
পাইথন এইচটিটিপি সার্ভার, পাইথন হাইফেন এম, মানে এম সুইচটাকে ইউজ করেছিলাম, তার সাথে এইচটিটিপি ডট সার্ভার, তারপরে পোর্ট 80 তে সেটাকে রান করিয়েছিলাম। এখানে আছে। This one. Okay, so this is the whole system, this is the whole process of generating a payload, and as well as to do the privilege escalation. So I will suggest you guys to practice it once. I'm giving you 10 to 15 minutes, just practice it. Practice it once and tell me whether you are having any problem or not.